explaining all the new epilogues in the new ending, also known as chapter 171.5. This is the chapter of the final volume of JJK volume 30. A lot of pages of drawing have gone as to show 4 epilogues. A lot of people didn't like the first ending, but to be honest, they didn't like this ending either. They said that the last chapter of JJK shouldn't have been character interaction that most people didn't even ask for. But personally, I think Gege addressing himself and these character interactions are not too bad. The first one is about Yuji meeting Ozawa, the girl who liked Yuji from middle school. Second one is the interaction of Panda with Yuta's grandchildren. The third one is the meeting of Nobara with her mother. The last one is how the child of ice, Uraume, met the king of curses, Sukuna. Sadly, there is no Gojo epilogue. So let's get straight into it. There are also the last words from Gege about that later. So the first epilogue is the Ozawa Yuko epilogue. We first see a middle school flashback of Yuji and Ozawa waiting for the bus while it's snowing. While waiting, they both talk about snow, and Yuji says that compared to when we were young, fireworks and stuff have become less special. Then saying that he still likes snow, and Ozawa says she still likes it too at present time. Ozawa is at a train station in the village or wherever she lived before coming to Tokyo. She says that she recognizes about 500 people from middle school, but it's not like anyone recognizes her, and says that even if anyone recognizes her, it won't be him. You know who I'm talking about. Surprisingly, when she was in her thoughts, Yuji was standing next to her and immediately recognized her. She asked that why did Yuji came home, to which Yuji says that after his grandfather's death, his home was left as is, so he took care of it as well as some other stuff. Ozawa says that her grandmother is moving to an old people's home, so she came back to help clean the house. She asks Yuji about the facial scars and that he was involved in an explosion, to which he replies that he was in Shibuya but came out fine. Ironically, it starts snowing and they both remind that they both like snow. Yuji says that he likes it because snow piles up to make a snowman, but Ozawa adds a little bit of more meaning to it, saying that the bright snow piles up to make a man, reminding her of Yuji and the man he is. Meanwhile, Megumi and Nobara are freaking out. When did Yuji become an adult? This shows that Yuji has matured a lot since becoming a Jujutsu sorcerer, but isn't too different from his old self. The next epilogue is the Panda epilogue, which is pretty short and 60 years after the Shinjuku showdown. It shows that Utah grandkids are looking into their grandfather's old stuff. It is not shown that who is the grandmother of these, but you can tell just by looking at the girl that these are Maki's grandchildren. The granddaughter founds Panda and says that it's so cute for a treasure, while her brother tells her that it is a cursed corpse and she throws it away. Nah, like for real, as soon as she heard that it was a cursed corpse, she went from it's so cute to nah, I hate it. Suddenly, Panda wakes up. It is shown that Panda stopped activity in 2035 after being registered in the Gojo clan storage. Its ownership was passed to Okotsu Yuta, the head of the Gojo clan. It makes sense that he became the head of the clan because of his distant relationship with the clan and due to him becoming the second strongest after Satoru Gojo. It's shown that Panda still comes alive for short periods of time even in 2080. This confirms that the damage Kashimo caused was irreparable and the sibling souls rarely did sacrifice themselves for Panda. Because of loss of the siblings, Panda always stayed in his cute small form and was no longer to be able to fight as a sorcerer, meaning Yaga's fury ceased to exist and Panda no longer had a cursed corpse. Even in 2080, Panda can still gain consciousness for small periods of time. The next epilogue is the Nobara epilogue, but before that, if you are still watching, it means that you are enjoying the video. This is my first video, so your subscribing will help a lot and you will become one of the OGs of this channel. We see that Nobara has came to visit her weird mother, who is surprised to see her. She asks that she finally came to visit her mom, to which Nobara replies, of course not, she is just fulfilling someone's last words. Here we can see that she is talking about Gojo. Her mom says that looks like that Nobara is having fun, to which she replies she has no interest in doing something she doesn't know how to do. She says that Nobara became a sorcerer, to which she replies whether her mom was there or not, she would have gone ahead and became a sorcerer. She says that her mom only had her to quit sorcery. Other than yaps about having fun and that she will not acknowledge Nobara and that stuff. She says that she really don't care about Nobara. Nobara says that she came here to see something funny, to which her mom looks confused. To which we see Nobara's grandmother just staring at her daughter ready to beat her up. A lot of people were not happy about this interaction despite a lot of people asking questions about Nobara mother and grandmother, and she came out to be nothing special. The last one is the Uraume's epilogue. We see Uraume in a field of ice with corpses all around her. We are shown that her father and mother died because of her ice powers, which she doesn't seem to be able to control, and anyone who comes near her becomes ice. We are shown that Sukuna doesn't become ice near her because of obvious reasons. She also crushed her own ice house. Sukuna takes pity on her and tells her to come with him. Uraume goes on to become Sukuna's personal and portable refrigerator, learning to control her ice powers to cook delicious meals and becoming stronger and proving to Sukuna that he made the right choice. He could also make use of Uraume's technique to make human food, human meat, or whatever you call it, making their connection strong for a long time. Uraume appreciates Sukuna because of all the people around her. Sukuna was the only one strong enough to survive beside her, and Sukuna also appreciates having someone strong beside him and wonders how Uraume didn't become heartless despite being around him. In this chapter, we get a lot of new art of characters and the last words from Gege, which I will read now. The product Jujutsu Kaisen was pushed out for 6.5 years, nearly 7 years if you include the serialization of the special issues, and what I learned was I am really an idiot. I was of course pushing myself to the limits to pull out everything I could for my creations, and after about 3 years of serialization, my already rough personality began to become absent-minded. Even though I was complaining that I am fed up with having things pointed out to me that be figured by looking it up on the internet, I still made the mistake on volume 18 with the sandpin and ended up thinking like Gecko Moria that well, if something happens, the people around me will figure it out. I have also been writing openings for 6.5 years to 7 years through instinct, but what this means is that the adults around me were just that reliable. I have really greatly troubled all of my editors, Katayama-san, Ikeda-san, and Fukuda-san, however you pronounce it, I'm sorry. The volume manager Yanagida-san, the designer Ishino-san, and my assistants. Speaking of being a trouble, I believe I put quite a bit of stress every week on the editorial department and everyone at the printers. I really apologize greatly for that. Jujutsu began running with my first editor Yamanaka-san, and we immediately entered an underground forced labor arc, but he periodically communicated with me. Thank you, and I am really grateful for meeting you. The reason I did not talk much in between the volumes was because I had become absent-minded. When first become serialized, I took into consideration that Jujutsu Kaisen was being serialized in a major magazine. I had this feeling of trying to do my best to alleviate those who would read Jujutsu Kaisen and feel hurt, and those who would be hurt by those who read Jujutsu Kaisen. The result of that was me telling myself, shut up, I get it, you Akutumi just want to be seen as a good person, and hurting myself, so I stopped trying that. To begin with, that very idea was prideful, and I understand now that it was due to me lacking the conviction to put my created work out into the world. This is embarrassing, but even now I do not fully have that conviction. When considering evil intent that doesn't exist, I still want to shout out loudly, but the root cause of it my immaturity as a mangaka, so I hold it in, or rather I continue on a condition where all I can do is swallow it down. The good thing about Shonen Jump is that the brand image is built around not the creator but the created work, and so by trusting myself to make it so that readers can read my manga without worry, I will take the lessons of these 7 years to heart, and I want to overcome my problems after this. I have books back that I bought during serialization, some for study, some just to have around because they might make me smarter. In truth, I do feel they made me smarter just by having them around. Even if I didn't read them, it's scary. This is the end of Jujutsu Kaisen that I have drawn. To everyone who supported me, to the people who read it all when it became topical, to those who read it wanting to see what came after the anime, to the person who just happened to read this final volume, any reason is fine. I truly thank you. Until we meet again. With that, your loved series Jujutsu Kaisen ends.